And we are live. Wednesday night with those guys, and Wednesday night with those guys is sponsored by those
Those guys.
guys. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday night with those guys. And as you know, Wednesday night with those guys is sponsored by those
Those
guys.
guys.
And this is where we talk about everything in the drone world and promote the usage of drones. And if the weather has been nice where you are, like the weather's been nice here today, where I'm at in the last few days, have been pretty good. Raining here from here and there, but the weather has been pretty good. And you've been able to get out and fly your drones. Tell me how the weather is where you are, and if you've been able to get out and fly your drone. So, Lawrence, how are you doing on this lovely Wednesday?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's sunny, it's cloudy, it's sunny, it's cloudy, but the weather's nice. Well, the
Oh,
other day I wore shorts. The day it hit almost hit 90.
yeah,
I
you should
went and
agree
did a
that.
little job and wore shorts, which was kind of
Okay,
cool.
okay.
Let's say shout out to Jody. Jody Drone Shots, Brooklyn Jimmy, SJM,
Okay.
RJ Aerials. How are you, bro? John Olson, what's good? Little Bull Shark.
Jody,
How are you, man?
what's
Hope
up?
everyone's doing well.
Little bow shot.
I hope you guys get a chance to fly like everyone else. I got to fly with Big Mac,
Oh,
who comes to the live stream the other night. We went out just to get some air. It was nice out. Only thing, the sky was really hazy. But what's up with you? How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm doing pretty good. I'm harassing some people and and talking nicely with others.
Harassing some people and talking nicely with others. So I won't ask who you're harassing because I may be part of that and I may incriminate myself. So we'll
Oh,
leave that alone.
no, I've been checking out. It's funny because you know how like when you go to social media, Twitter has its wars going on back and forth over there, and
Hmm.
other locations and other social media has their arguments going back and forth.
Yeah, yeah.
I noticed the same thing happens on LinkedIn.
It happens on all platforms. I
Yeah.
I remember back to MySpace. It happened back then too. And before YouTube was really popular, well, YouTube was always popular, but they had other services like called Now Live, where
Mhm.
you could do the same thing we could do. You could have up to 9 people on, and it was strictly free,
Mhm.
you
Well,
know.
the
And
the
the
re
same thing went on there.
the reason why I bring it up is not so much that they had a thing on LinkedIn that was a live stream, but you remember last week we had Randall on the
You're
show.
right, right.
And Randall is a cool guy. I like him. He came on to talk to us about the company and what the company's trying to do, fill that void with the same quality of product that we used to in that
Mhm.
space. You know what I'm saying to you? But from an
Yeah,
American company with software a company that we know.
right. Yeah, yeah. If you,
So, so basically, there was some people who had issues with it on LinkedIn and talking about and then there was funny because I got a funny email from a guy asking if I know anything about the two that the Spectre here
uh-huh.
and the robotics Raptor and what I know about it. If I can, I kind of honestly, I don't know who the guy is, where it came from, doesn't
Right.
make sense to me.
But you got an email saying this.
Yeah,
Do
and
you have any, basically asking, do you have any ties with Anzu Robotics and or DJI?
not so much DJI, but with those two companies, the Spectre.
Oh, Contigo, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Contigo,
Contigo. And
Contigo.
I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. But you see, I mean, that could be anybody just playing around.
You're saying somebody trying to be funny?
I believe so. The email is there on the channel.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
If you want to reach me, the
Well, I wouldn't even worry about it.
yeah,
It was a waste of energy.
and when there's anybody on the stream, the link to who they are and where you can find them is always in the description.
True. This
So,
is true.
with that being said, we did have him on the stream last week, and I like the product. I'm interested in seeing where this is going next.
Right.
I'd love to see what the software is like on it.
I'm more concerned like you. I'm more concerned about the software because to
Yeah,
actually have
because
something other than
the Fly
DJI
app.
Fly app. And we come from the Go 4 app where we could
Well,
turn
I
we could
come
turn
from.
off our GPS
I
lock, all of that.
I actually used the Go app on the drones before that had the other app. The earlier drones, there was 3 apps that they've had.
Right. I go back to the 4. I came into DJI with the Go 4 app.
Yeah, the Phantom 3 standard and uh the other drones before it
Yeah.
were on the Go app.
I remember hearing things about that and seeing people actually did tried to help fix a guy's drone, and it was a Phantom 3 standard, and I had to download. I remember having to download the Go app just to communicate, just do anything. You had to have that app. So I did not get a chance to fly it, but like I told the guy, I said, go to DJI, buy one of their drones. What does he do? He goes to eBay and buys a standard, okay, with no radio. And then I advised him against this to send his money back. Then he goes to eBay and buys a radio. So now his issue was he couldn't get the radio to respond or bind to the drone.
Right.
And my, after looking at it, conclusion was the drone he got was busted up. The radio worked fine. Huh?
Let me tell you
Hey,
something.
Waypoint. But he wind up buying a DJI drone, and I said, "Now, see the money that you spent on that standard and that radio right there could have got you your first drone easily."
Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. The biggest, okay, here in New York, right? The
Mm-hmm.
thing that I miss the most about talking about with DJI was the fact that the DJI store in Manhattan, right?
Yeah.
They are affiliated with the other store.
Paramus.
Yeah, I believe so because the original store that was on Broadway
Mm-hmm. Was affiliated with them.
was affiliated with them, and they also had at one point a repair center. And what I liked about their repair center that they had was a few blocks over.
Yeah.
You could go over there and buy like radios and stuff like that if you needed a replacement radio. They had radios and stuff there,
Nice.
different parts and stuff like that. If you needed it, they had it there.
Okay. Well, I do remember them having a repairs shop and at the old, not at the old store, but I do remember you had pointed out where they had across the street or down the block there was a shop where they took their
There was a
drones
few blocks
and did
over.
huh?
Yeah, it was a couple of blocks down.
Right. Which that was their real repair shop. The store
Yeah,
was the storefront, but they did the work in that store a few blocks away.
yeah, and they used to get drones sent to them, and they were shipping drones out of there that for repair.
Don't burn the dinner, Ronnie. He says he's burning dinner and listening.
Oh, don't do
Don't
that.
burn the dinner, man. Not good. I don't think wifey would like that.
No, don't do that. Because you can't eat it if you burn it.
That's true. That's
But
true. Then you have to order takeout, and when you get it, it's going to be cold, especially if you get Uber Eats
well,
or one of them places. Guaranteed fast food cold.
what you don't do, right? When you order food for
Yeah,
delivery, you don't order food you can't rewarm.
I know. I know. Yeah, you can never reheat a McDonald's fry once it's cold.
Anything crispy that they put into a container to keep it hot is gonna be
Mhm.
soggy. See, good luck on that. But yeah, Lawrence,
Yeah.
we mentioned this last week also. The commercial UAV Expo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's how they say it, drones in action. That's
Yes.
September 3rd through the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys are interested, don't miss it. It's at the
Well,
Caesars Forum in Las Vegas. Don't check it out.
mm-hmm.
September 3rd through the 5th, 2020.
Yeah, if you want to attend, there's the button right there. I'll put the link in the chat if you're on that side of the country and you want to see some cool UAV stuff. Pricing,
I
here's a
know.
list.
Who's that? Bob will probably be over there.
Full conference, $895. This is an early bird special. Then you have an exhibit hall pass.
Uh-oh.
There's going to be a lot of stuff on a lot of drones and fixed wings for surveillance and stuff there. But the most important, I think, are the conferences.
Oh,
Get to
okay.
see what's happening with the leading companies out there, Herman, that are doing stuff. Look, main topics: energy and utilities, construction, infrastructure, and transportation.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
Yeah, so
I
go
see
check it out if you're in that part of the hemisphere. I mean,
a lot of
if
stuff to
I
sleep to.
if I was there, hey Lance, how are you? Hope all is well.
Hey, you heard me, Lawrence?
What happened?
A lot of stuff to sleep to. Hey.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of yeah.
You know, sometimes when you go to a conference, right?
Mm-hmm.
The voices just start sounding like wah 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 wah. Because interesting until a point. And then after a while, you're like,
That happens to me too often. I mean, it's gotta keep my attention, or else I'll start spacing out. I'll start spacing out, and if I either get into my phone
mhm.
or I'll just start looking around and eventually try to find the time to shut down. The best time to go to the movies, take your kid to the movies. That's one of the best naps you can get. No,
No, who's gonna watch the kid?
the kid's got a bucket full of popcorn. He's banging against it, kicking the person's seat in front of you. The kid's
Right.
still.
So who's gonna tell him to stop kicking the seat in front of him?
Well, that. Well, you got to do that after he wakes you up. Um, Ronnie says he did a flight over Savannah, Georgia, the night flight
Okay.
a while back. The Mini 2 did a fantastic job. We're going to talk about the Mini 2 later on, guys.
Are we?
Because, yeah, well, it's going to
The,
come up eventually.
the Mini too.
Yeah,
You mean the Mini 4K?
yeah, yeah. The
You
Mini,
mean the
the
Mini
Mini 2,
2?
the Mini 2 4K.
You mean in the Mini 2 or the Mini 4K?
The Mini 4K we're going to talk about, but
Or the Mini 2 in
they are in this, they are both in this, aren't they both the same, Bird?
with a new label on it.
Right. Now you get it. Now you get it. Hey, what's up,
Because we
Angel?
got because if that's the case,
Elvin.
we got the Mini 4K right here. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's just the same drone. They just relabeled the name on it, and you know.
Yeah, yeah, it
But,
is.
I mean, I don't work down there at the place, but that was the hot topic. And the other day, it was released on Amazon, as we know, right? You know what?
Yes.
The Mini 4K, right? They rebranded the name on the old good old drone that was floating around there.
Yep, there she is. Now, if
Yeah,
you remember, the Mini 2
yeah,
had
yeah.
no sensors, nothing. It was very simplified. She
Uh-huh.
did have downward facing sensors for landing and
Did it?
avoiding obstacles while landing.
Is that right?
Yes. Yeah, right there in your hand.
All right. Well, check this out. Here's
Yeah.
the deal. I've compared the
I'll stop.
specs on the drones,
Mm-hmm.
and they're identical.
Yeah.
It is the same drone.
Yep. 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 So, in other words, you're saying
Mhm.
if you go out there and buy the Mini, you got a
So,
Mini 4K.
no, I'm just saying, if you have the Mini 2, there's no reason for you to go buy the Mini 4K. I mean, that's on you. I mean, if you feel
I
the
got you. I
need,
got you. Because
if you
and why is this reason?
if
Why
you
is this so?
if you feel the need to spend that 200 and
Hold on, I'll pull it up.
well, $300, if you feel the need to spend that $300, then I mean,
There
knock
you
yourself
go.
out.
Yeah.
But if you're just getting into the game, that's a good little drone now. You know what I mean? It's got 4K camera now. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have the all the obstacle avoidance, but damn,
Right.
it's a good little drone.
Yeah, if you're learning how to fly and you're just getting into the game and you know you're
Yeah.
not going to fly it further than a
Well,
couple of 100 feet away, you're okay.
don't get it twisted. She's got capability to get out there.
Yeah, yeah. I know some people
Um,
who work the hell out the Mini.
hold on a second.
Huh?
The Mini 3 has traveled Coney Island.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The Mini 3 has gone out across the creek and over the Coney Island lines and back around to the park without a problem.
Without any problems, right?
Yep.
Yeah,
Past
you're
the
right about
school,
that.
the feel and everything. It even stopped along the way and took a picture of the ferry stop.
Ryan Neal said thanks for stopping by his channel the other day.
Oh yeah, no problem. No problem, man. I check
They're
out
just
everything
selling it at
too.
a cheaper, Angel says they're just selling it at a cheaper price. They had to bring it back since the Mini 2 was discontinued. Well, to be honest, it never left. It's
Where'd it
it's
go?
it never left, Angel. I agree with what you're saying about bringing it back. They did bring it back with a twist because now it's 4K, but that drone has been selling for 200 and change for a while. And I
Well,
know someone who I told, they asked me, "Oh,
the Mini
Lawrence,
2?
you've been flying drones for years, and I trust your opinion, and I want to get something to get started with." And the first thing I said is, "What's your budget?" And they let me know, and I said, "Well, get a Mini 3 Pro."
Well,
And
we were able to, you told me to get a Mini 3. This is the 2.
yeah, yeah, but he was talking about that drone, and I said, "Well, to be honest, just
Mm,
go ahead and get the Mini 3 Pro because you're gonna wind up wishing you had in the long run."
mm.
And he went ahead and got it. So
Okay.
so
Well,
he's happy with it.
the reason why I say, you know, this, everybody was talking. Well, the thing was, they wanted to, it was a good way of not discontinuing the SE.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
It was a good way of not discontinuing it because they wanted, I guess, they wanted to discontinue, but this was already discontinued, so they wanted to just change the name of it and changing the video chip or whatever we spoke about
right.
that
We did it. You're right.
to
We did a
to the
story on
to
that.
the video chip to make it shoot 4K, like the 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 Mini 2, I mean, was a good way of revising the drone when they had two other drones above it.
Right, but I just honestly think they got a shitload of those frames.
Well, of course. I mean, and then, like I told you, everything over there is an ecosystem. And one thing about it is that you can use the good old flippity smart controller.
True.
Because they're both on the that system,
Right, right.
along with the V2. And so I mean you could have fun at it. It's a good little drone. I mean, right now, what is it
I
moving
don't
at?
know anyone who has one that didn't enjoy it,
It's
honestly.
it's moving.
Angel he still has his, he said in the chat.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Jim's droning. How are you guys? UAVP. Any of you guys out there still have your mini too?
It's a good little drone, man.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even if it's sitting on a shelf somewhere and you're flying something else, if you still have it, there's a reason you haven't gotten rid of it.
Listen, let me tell you something. You remember where we shot? Oh, wow.
What happened?
Through that and check it out, and I might want to put. I gotta. When the next time you're here, we gotta talk about that video. We shot that video out on Rockaway in Jamaica Bay, over by on that little. I don't even know what you call it, because I know when the tide is high, it's probably covered with water.
Which video?
And
On Jamaica, you're talking
the
about
one
for
for
New York
Surfskate,
one?
the Surfskate Fitness. Yes, yes.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Okay, right.
I remember.
Book one, right out there on that piece
That's
of.
Jamaica Bay. Yeah, that little
No,
inlet.
but I'm quite sure that little spot, that when the tide is high, is covered with water. That's why
Oh, yes, yes,
they're telling
definitely.
people not to go there.
Yeah,
Okay, I was standing on that spot, and I had the Mini 3 Pro,
right.
and the Mini 3 Pro went out and followed them all the way down to the bridge
And back.
with no problem.
No interruption, nothing. Yeah, yeah.
So
Hey,
I don't
Bill.
have a problem with these mini drones. They're capable of doing certain things, but when it comes down to certain things, though, that's when I learned that the news just wants footage.
Well, Blind Neil says he still has the spark going back.
Wow, the
Hey,
spark.
hey, real quick. Sorry to interrupt you, Herman, but we knew someone in here in New York that flew the spark. And when he brought it back, the batteries were going. He flew the Spark was a good drone too for Wi-Fi tech. But every time it landed, the battery was huffing and puffing.
Huh.
I made it. And it had decent battery life. I remember. They used to fly to hell. I won't divulge any names or anything, but I remember some guys flying the hell out that Sparks. Huh?
Cooking them batteries. But no, but what I wanted to say though, the Mini 4K, right?
Yeah.
Coming in as well. First off, we all know it was only released on that Amazon that DJI.
Uh-huh.
So we know it comes in at $299, and they have the fly more for $449, right? Which is not a bad price. I mean, for what you're getting. But like I said, it's the same as the Mini 2. So across the board, you're looking at the same 249 gram drone with 31 minutes flight time, with
Right.
the 1 over 2.3 inch CMOS sensor,
Mm-hmm.
and or should I say, yeah, we have 1 over 1.2 230 1 over 2.3 inch CMOS sensor. Yeah, 4K 30, which is what the chip was providing
Right.
that capability, and we have the DJI O2 transmission, which is going to give it up to 10 kilometers of transmission, and at the on the little screeny, you're going to get 720p to 30 frames per second, which is not bad at all. And you got downward vision. We got the smart return to home is all that, checked off.
Right.
So I mean, listen, quick shots is in there, so it's it's a nice little
Listen, I expect to see a lot of, well, with remote ID, I see what they're doing. With remote IDs, a lot of people don't want to be
right.
bothered. It's easier to get a mini series. What were you saying?
And that's the selling point. Because
Yep.
if it's remote ID compatible, I don't believe that this guy is.
Yeah. You would have to put a module on it, and which would make it oversee the weight and things like that. Yeah. So for those of you who don't want to deal with remote ID but still want to fly a camera drone, you have a series of minis out there. And there's a lot of channels out there that have videos on every mini all the way through present day, right?
Minis and all kind of other junk. No,
Yeah.
but talking about that, I'm supposed to be interviewed.
Hey, Gary,
Supposed to be interviewed.
you're supposed to be interviewed?
Yeah.
By who? The
See,
feds?
now, see,
The feds?
now you make it sound like I can't be interviewed. I happen to be a very important man around town here. You know what I mean? People know me. How they say it? Listen, tell them all the time. So listen, you have a drone outfit, and you're a businessman. And I got a drone outfit, and I'm a businessman.
Okay, all right.
So that's how I go down.
Okay,
Plus,
all right.
plus
Yeah,
I got a YouTube channel. So
okay. You had to one up them.
No, I'm serious. No, I'm supposed to be interviewed for a program that's on Instagram live.
Okay.
I asked her to send me a link so I can share it, but I don't know. I'm hoping that I get one.
Okay, all right. Well, I hope it comes through for you. And you'd have to let us know or put a link on your page or put a link in those guys so we could check out the interview if it comes to fruition. Right?
Oh no, I was reading the thing here about what it was saying about the mini too on the chat.
The mini. Just don't, yeah, Angel saying don't add anything, you won't put it over 250. This is true. It's designed to be, it's 249. If a fly lands on it, it's gonna
Right.
pass the 250, If a fly hitches a piggyback ride.
Anything you add to it, which the Mini 2 would need a module because it's not remote ID compatible. So that's going to take it over that. But I would have it registered anyway because all of my drones, well, this one I never registered it because I only fly it here in the house.
Look at them. Look at how bougie is that? You only fly that one in the house? Why?
Because I have another mini drone.
That's true. You do have another mini, yeah. Yeah.
And I rather have the controller paired to this one than
okay, understandable. That's understandable.
So I mean, I do use it when I do fly it, and I do use the smart controller.
Right.
Even in the house. Well, you want to be able to see where it's going.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, you have more than enough space to fly that around,
and
so it's
and and I don't want to hook up the phone and pull out the controller and then start having to.
update and et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, I
That's
get it.
what
I
the
get it.
controller is good for, is updating.
Right, right,
Because for some reason they did the when you update the mini, you got to go back. Hey, good afternoon, Big
hey,
Mac.
Big Matt.
You got to go back to the controller, the origin, and this, that, and the other.
Right.
It's too much work.
I get it. I get it. But that's why I try to tell someone, if you're going to get into drones right now,
Mhm.
that the OcuSync 4 is new. They only have a handful, they have less than a handful of items on OcuSync 4. If you
Uh-huh.
do, hey Bill, how are you? Get into something with OcuSync 3.
You
Why? Because with one radio, it controls multiple, more than a handful of drones, does it
know,
not?
well,
The RC Pro.
but you know what'll happen? You know what's gonna happen? Is
What? They'll stop servicing. They'll
no,
stop support for it.
no, no. If you is there a reason to have an RC Pro right now? I mean,
Um,
you can make another one.
true, true. But right now, there's no reason for one because they're all over the place.
No, no. DJI is splitting. If you look at how everything is, there's no more one shot deal. They split everything up. You
Yeah,
got they made that the new version of that new RC controller, the DJI RC2. They made that with the range and everything on it just as good as the
I
RC
know.
Pro.
I know.
You know what I'm saying too? And then all of the drones that would be on it, you can't. They're not enterprise level drones. So what's the point of having the download software? You know what I mean, to work to run this thing.
Yeah, yeah. I
You know what I
agree.
mean?
Too expensive. The RC Pro is, but well, I don't think it'll stay at that price range only because OcuSync 4 is out.
And
You
then the
know,
RC Pro,
the price should drop.
well, what I'm saying about the RC Pro is that it's if you still want to get it to fly all of those drones that everybody is starting to jump on all the newer stuff. I mean, if you still got those things working and flying, and you're going to plan to keep them, and you can find one, I would grab it if I was you. If I wanted to fly everything with one controller, but other than that, anybody that's flying what's out new, like on OcuSync 4 that's coming out, or that well not coming out, anything that's coming out that's been out on OcuSync 4, I believe that the other controller will fly all of those drones. So
Right, right. I
the
get
point.
I get
You
what you're
still
saying,
need
but
the enterprise versions to do the things that everybody else want to do anyway.
true. That is true. But the advantage of the RC Pro is I do believe at some time and point, because of all of the new stuff that DJI is going to come out on OcuSync 4, the price should drop some. It is expensive, but it's worth it because that RC Pro flies more than 5 different types of drones. I mean, all your RC Pro flies everything you have behind you. Does it not?
No, no.
No, the Phantoms. It flies everything except the Phantoms.
Um,
Yeah, everything except the Phantoms.
three. You're right. Those
Yeah,
three.
so it's terrible that DJI never added backwards or forwards or forward compatibility on the RC Pro to OcuSync 4. Let's see what they
Well,
do.
well, well, you know what? That's why when everybody talks about this this Mavic 4 coming out, I'm like, is that the end of OcuSync 4?
True. Yeah, but hold on. Eldon puts, it's terrible that DJI never added backwards or forwards compatibility, right?
Mhm.
But DWAP says I got rid of now this I can kind of understand, but he says I got rid of my Air 2S for an Air 3. Okay, that
Mhm.
means OcuSync 4. Then I brought a Mavic 3. So he left OcuSync 3 to go to OcuSync 4 to get another OcuSync 3. Now, are those the only drones that you have? Because
That's
now
not
you have to
the
carry around two different radios to fly two different birds.
all right.
And that was my concern.
You did it. You
Yeah,
did it.
I
I
guess you're
still
right.
do it.
I did. Yeah, I did it at one time and point. Now I carry one controller.
I still do it. If I'm going to fly the Mini 3, I'll still fly it
Hey, Scott.
with the controller that came with it, the DJI RC. I mean,
Right.
to me, it's like freestyling because once that drone is way out there, you don't know what the hell that controller is going to do.
True. But I'm just a firm. I'm going to be honest about this. I'm comfortable with OcuSync 3, or at least until something in OcuSync 4 comes out that I want, wish for, desire. But to be
You,
honest, I would be happy. I have the Mavic 3 Classic, Herman, right? I would be happy with the Mavic 3 Pro. But
no,
see, I do not use that zooming capability. I barely use the 5x zoom on my Classic, which is pretty decent. If you zoom it into about 4.5, as long as you don't max it out to 5, it's okay. But you know that with DJI, if you max it out to full, they usually start distorting anyway. But OcuSync 4, like you were zoomed in, how you were zoomed in while we were looking at those buildings when we were yesterday.
well,
How you were zoomed in, that was 7 times, dude. That was blocks and blocks away.
right. But what I'm saying too is that, but look at how it looked on that day.
Yeah.
With how it was yesterday.
With the haze and all of that.
Early morning. Scott, what's good, Jackrabbit? What's good, man? Gary.
Yeah, if you haven't clicked the like button,
so.
please feel free to do so.
Yeah, not it's no harm in the game, but yeah, but that mini 2,
I expect to see
the
it
mini
around for a
4K,
while.
the mini 4K, it's a good little drone. Like I said, yeah, listen, jump on it. If you're interested, it's a good little drone.
Listen, if you're looking to get into drones, and I would like to think that the majority of the people who watch our live streams have been flying for a while or just recently got into drones. But for you guys out there that may be thinking or know someone who just don't want to pull a trigger on a DJI drone, the Mini might be it. You know, because
you know what? I wanted to tell you.
It's past that time, man. Damn, 8 minutes.
Yeah, the sponsors is gonna kick you out of that position.
All right, I'm setting the timer on the next two.
Here we go. Wednesday night with those guys is sponsored by
those guys.
And with that being said, Lawrence, I know you guys love these things, and I know
Eddie Nunez, what's up?
I say you guys, hey Eddie, good. It's funny, Eddie's right on time with this one because it's the 360, the Ace Pro. They received a firmware update with that one, and it's supposedly this AI enhanced action camera that they want to call it. It's it comes in around what now $400 because of after I guess a price reduction on it was done, but
yeah,
it has now got an upgrade on this firmware. That believe it or not, it's done a few things with its audio, its noise reduction, and its ability to be paired with the DJI mic, which is a beautiful thing, as we all know, right? What do you think about that, Lawrence?
Anytime you can do an upgrade to something that's already existent, it's a plus. It's a plus.
I like this little camera though. I like the way
it though. And the reason I say that,
Mhm.
even your refrigerators now, all they need is a firmware update and they can
Word up.
control the temperature precisely on. This camera right here, it's this pure video that they're showing on the right side, I think is going to go far. Everyone's making a camera with some type of night vision and low light sensibility.
Okay.
And it
Now,
also has the same snap-on mounting system that a few of the other ones have. Let's
okay.
see where it goes. I mean, they're already
Eddie
selling
said he
them.
hasn't tried the Ace Pro yet.
Huh?
Eddie says he hasn't tried the Ace Pro yet
Okay. And you know what?
because
I need,
it has a low light and enhanced low light capability. They've done some, an upgrade, this that. And you know what? It's funny. I never liked products like this, but I didn't know this. It's funny because I'm going to tell you what it does also, and I'll tell you where I saw it first. Um, it has the pre-recording setting, meaning that
right?
you get 15 to what is it? I believe it's a 15 seconds or up to 30 seconds of pure video footage, even before hitting the shutter button.
Really? Oh, yes, yes, yes. 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a
I-
cool feature.
Now, you know what's funny about that? I was watching a program, right?
Eddie says he
And,
loves the X4.
okay. Because as I was talking about this thing here with that feature, I was looking at a program where, the police body cam
Yeah,
did the same thing.
right.
And
Okay.
the officer was able to capture something because he got attacked and he got hurt in the process, but he was able to capture something on his body cam that they didn't think that he caught. Basically, he got set up, and his body cam caught the other officers that set him up. You understand? But being able to
Yes.
record that time before he hit the record button.
Well, you know what? That same feature that you're talking about that allows you to record 30 seconds before you hit the record button,
Yeah.
has actually gotten a few police officers in trouble. I do remember one or two incidents in the past when they were first introducing those camera systems, because someone was saying, what happens if the police officer doesn't decide to cut it on until the last minute?
Mhm.
And these cameras had that feature that, like you said, 30 seconds to 15 to 30 seconds before you press the power button,
Mhm.
it records that also. And you've heard a few cops say a few things that they
Mhm.
may not have, you know, they weren't or shouldn't have been heard saying. So
Well, that's their business.
yeah,
I,
Michael Blades, please send me a link. I need to look into something about that size.
mhm. Well,
But
talk about the mics too, Lawrence. The DJI mics too.
uh-huh.
Well, it's crazy, but they now also support connection to the Sony cameras. Now, it's not all
Yes,
Sony cameras,
yes.
selected few cameras. I'm not sure of the cameras that are exactly connected, but this comes in the form of two parts.
So if you own a Sony camera, you might want to hear this.
It comes in the via of firmware and also via of a new camera adapter that allows you to connect the receiver for the mics to
Yeah,
the camera with a without the usage of the 3.5 millimeter cable that like the one we use.
yeah, the TRS cable.
Yeah. So you don't no longer have to use that, and believe it or not,
Angie,
it'll also charge the battery in it. And you got digital audio recording.
I'm done. Okay. Well, it's funny that you say that because
But
these features that they have added to
uh,
it are that one of the first one is they optimize receiver pop-up interactions.
mhm,
So the pop-up window will actually close after 3 seconds of not being touched. If you don't have to worry about it staying on for 5, 10, 15, whatever time it used to stay on before. The other thing is the optimized logic of splitting files recorded to the transmitter, meaning when recording 32-bit float audio, the file is automatically split and stored every 30 minutes.
like
So,
like the other things are doing.
right, right, like all the other devices are doing. And it says something about also some known fixed issues, but I just happen to have where you can get
No
this
fixed
module.
issues.
So if you own a Sony camera, Amazon has the piece. If you own a Sony camera and a
Mhm,
DJI mic system, this is the device right here. Your DJI mic 2 would plug in to this device, and this device plugs into the top of your camera, and it's only $50.
mhm,
It slides into that, the same place where we put the transmitter for what that we
mhm.
use in the
Yeah.
top of the camera. It grips in there, and your mic too will connect to this device right here. So if you were interested in it, all you got to do is go to Amazon, and their links are stupid long, so I can't do it, but copy this in
Mhm.
Amazon right here, and you should be able to find it.
Okay.
That's the adapter piece. I'd like to know if you own a Sony camera and a DJI Mic 2 system and you want to give it a try, let us know how it works out. I'd like to know how that what's happening with that.
Mhm. You know, it's funny that you say that, right? There is a feature that on my camera that works with my phone
Okay.
on the app that will move the DJI Ronin
Hey
without
Ray Kelly,
without the usage of the Raven Eye.
really?
Yeah, I don't understand how how Lumix Panasonic was able to do that. But just by connecting the the gimbal to the camera, you, when using the app on the phone, it'll
Yes.
you can control the movement of the because the Raven Eye is supposed to be able to control the gimbal moving the camera around to
Right, right,
basically follow you.
right.
The For some god unknown reason, the camera does it. The camera does it too. So
Really?
and yeah, with this, so it tells the Ronin to move.
Okay.
I don't know how it does it. It just does it.
Hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Ray, how are you?
But I'd rather connect the Raven to it.
Right, to have control. Yeah, I'm doing well, Ray. We trying to get in some.
AJ,
Oh
what
no, Angie's flooding out her relative's house. She's supposed to be house sitting. I
what
asked her, how
happened
is house sitting going? Going good, even after almost flooding out the upstairs.
again?
Oh, see, I didn't know there was a first time.
Mm.
All right, you guys pull out your burner accounts. Gary's pushing
Oh,
to get us to 30
you know what's
on,
funny
on,
about
on the
that? I
likes.
only see four, so I mean,
Yeah, because you don't refresh, you don't have to refresh.
how
I wouldn't
often?
risk it. But wait a minute, you know
How
what?
often do you have to refresh it?
Um,
'Cause it should be
it should be automatic, I know, but
right.
look what
Does it?
we're talking about.
Okay, I refreshed it. Now I gotta go through the whole.
You got to wait for
I
everything to
wasn't
load up.
like I wasn't even in the chat before.
Yeah, I know. I know. Oh, so see, Angie says no, just one time.
Who?
Lawrence, I ordered the parts from Get FPV. Okay.
Oh, okay.
You have a link of a video you can send me, Michael Blades, on
You know
Messenger or
what I
something?
think is retarded?
What's that?
Use that word, but I get a link. I get an alert for myself going live. That's crazy. But I want to move along here because we got supposed to have Ryan.
Ryan coming in 10 minutes. Yes.
Yeah, I haven't heard from him. Once again, I hope we don't have a time issue. But
Okay.
yeah, like I was saying to you, moving on with AgEagle. Um, I guess they have a big deal with the sale of their drone that they have the EB, right? That drone.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm
AgEagle,
familiar with it.
yeah, they're supposed to be an industry leader in providing of you know drones, should I say, flight hardware and sensors and software for
Right.
for the commercial space and for the government.
Okay.
Um, they have basically announced that they've made their largest purchase order ever, where they're going to be selling well, like I said, there's a big purchase order in order. So with the purchase of 40 EB vision systems, and with an additional nine, I believe, supposed to be nine others, EB
Okay.
drones to be sold to the French army. This deal is going to include drones, sensors, uh, data links, and control stations for the EB, which is not bad. The estimated cost of this deal is approximately $3.4 million.
Their largest deal since AgEagle has been in business to present date.
Yeah, isn't that amazing?
Congratulations. Congratulations to AgEagle. I hope they hold on. I even have a video of how they set it up. So if you want to keep talking about it.
Oh, you see it right there? Well, the guy right there was in the military
You're
dude.
watching, you're
Just
watching
tossed.
a you're watching a replay. I already got the full assembly video, 46 seconds. It takes 46 seconds to assemble. Well, the video is 46 seconds, but this is the actual unit itself. The particular EV one that they've got mad contracts. The battery looks like a Phantom 4 style battery. Plugs in, I see. It's probably a 6 cell. I'm thinking you wouldn't want a 4 cell in there. It's probably a 6 cell type. And technically, it's 3 pieces: the fuselage, the wings. I don't like those dipole antennas. I was never a big fan of dipole antennas, but I guess it works for them. It's their system. They just got $3.4 million, right?
Okay. Listen,
But yeah.
I'm blessed. I believe they're on the blue list, right? They're
Uh-huh.
selling stuff, so more power to them. I'm hope they can sell more of those.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope so
Sell them
too. I
to the
hope so
French
as
army,
well.
so that way, if they go down, we know what's going on with it. Better them than us.
Oh, Eldon still, wait, hold on. It says folks that brought the RC Pro weren't treated nice. An RC Pro 2 probably in the works as we speak with OcuSync 4 for the next releases at an even higher cost. The RC Pro should be able to do more.
You know what?
Yeah.
If I bought that, I'd be very afraid when that Mavic 4 come up.
Yeah. 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 If they plan on coming out with a Mavic 4.
Is it? Oh yeah.
DJI
Well,
seems to stop. They seem to
I'm
stop
just
at number
saying.
4, though. Keep in mind.
We
They
said they
have
can
this
only
thing with
count to
number
four.
4.
They can only count to four. Well,
No, I'm not going to say that.
four.
1, 2, 3, 4 billion. Right?
Oh no, you ain't right. But you know what, Lawrence? We not only have Ryan
It's
coming.
Okay.
We got Ryan coming in a little bit, but we have no, I'll bring Ryan. I'll bring him in a little early. What do you think?
Yeah, he's here. If he's here, bring him in.
I'll bring him in.
Bring him in.
Bring him in. Should be here.
Victory for MSU. Spartan Green.
No. Oh,
Huh?
Michigan State. Uh-oh. He's got his Michigan
Hold
State.
on. Hold on.
What are
Okay.
you doing?
I can hear you now.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
We can
Hey,
hear you
there we
now.
go.
And we can see you now.
There we go.
How's it going, Ryan?
I'm good. How about you?
I'm good, man.
We're okay. We're still flying drones in New York.
We're still trying.
Yeah, we're still trying.
And no one's
And
jumped
no
out.
jail time. No.
No
one's jumped out from behind any trees and tackled us. And
no Karen has
Remote
ran up
ID.
behind me and said, I followed you I followed your drone here with drone scanner, none of that stuff.
And your wallets aren't $150 lighter for each flight.
Well, let's not talk about that. We don't want to go there right about now.
Okay. We'll hold off on that one.
you know what's funny? Yesterday, just yesterday, the guy over at one of the sites said to me, he goes, do you have to pay $150 every time you fly? I'm like, you want to pay it?
Yeah.
Right. Right.
What kind of question are you asking? Listen,
it's not as bad as you think, Ryan, because there are more, and I'm saying this, there are more people that most of the cops don't give a damn. Most of the state of New York doesn't give a damn, but there are businesses that want you to adhere to that $150 or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
We do what we have to do in business.
Yep.
Should I've already had a guy ask me, like, how long does it take for you to get the shot? Because I really don't want to pay that permit.
Yeah. I mean, you actually do something real light, and you have to add that on to the fee now.
No, serious. I've been asked that already. Do you have to pay for the permit fee for everywhere we shoot?
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's madness. Can you imagine that? Like if we had to go to a couple of different locations?
Yeah. Yep. You got to line up everything for that day, and it doesn't apply. That one permit to that one spot does not apply to the other three. You have to visit that day. It does not apply. But what's going on with you, Ryan? How are you? What's happening in your part of the world?
Good. Wow, there's lots happening, and we'll talk through one of them later with TFRs. But just in terms of my small little area, not a whole lot. It's nice weather coming out, able to fly a little bit here or there, and yeah.
Well, you know what, Ryan? We everybody knows. Well, we have you on the stream. We talk about a lot of things that they need to know about. But I mean, there's a lot of everybody here should already know you. But you could tell everybody, a little bit about yourself.
You bet.
Yeah, why not?
So, for those that don't know, my name is Ryan Latourette, and I'm the Director of Regulatory Affairs for the Great Lakes Drone Company, and a founding member of the Michigan Coalition of Drone Operators. My hope is to be an ambassador towards the industry, and we do a lot of legal work, making sure that everyone is able to fly across the nation, and does so in a legal fashion, and just grows the sport, the industry, and the hobby.
Okay. And if you guys need a link to Ryan, there's a link in the description below. the stream. So there's also there's also the fund for the what is the fund for? It's for legal fund for
Legal
in case,
Defense Fund.
right, the legal
Yeah.
defense fund in case pilots have the problems that they run into.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep.
In
And
case
we do
someone
run
has to
into
jump
them.
on the red eye and go talk to a lawyer locally or whatever, all of the above.
You need a lawyer.
This is not done by some foundation or anything. You got to make that very clear
Exactly.
when you ask people to donate, because if who wants to donate to a company that's already funded by $1 million company, but people do, but people need to know where their money's going, especially in
Yep.
today's time.
Absolutely.
A hamburger costs $20.
It's insane.
Yeah, yeah. All right, where are we going with this, Herman?
What?
What are we
Your break
starting with?
for your sponsor, or were we?
Yes. You give us a second. Um, give us a second real quick, because we have to pay homage to sponsor, which FYI is Dronadair. Go ahead, Herman.
Okay, Dronadair. For pilots looking to scale their operations, book appointments, record keeping, show your work with your website, tools to help you become a more knowledgeable pilot. Dronadair is for you.
Okay, there we
Okay,
go.
with that being said, now,
I'm back.
Ryan, we were talking a little bit before the stream a couple of days ago, and we
You're a little low, Herman, because I have to keep turning you up.
really am I
Yeah,
am I low? Hold on a second. How about now?
You're good to me.
that's good. That's good. That's perfect.
You sure?
Yeah.
And what's your volume at on your?
Oh no, it's not that. But every time you speak, then you start talking softer and softer.
Oh,
It,
because
uh,
I'm not always like up on the mic or like, yeah.
yeah.
But anyhow, there was a bill in Iowa that seemed to be an issue. How's that? I guess it started as House Bill 572.
House
What are
Bill,
they?
yeah.
Yeah, they're prohibiting the use of remotely piloted aircraft over homes and farms. Is that what they were going with?
Yeah, so get ready for this one. So, uh, we're going to talk about a couple of bills here, Ohio and this one in Iowa. And I know, we've had some craziness going on at Congress with the two DJI bills going through. Florida banning DJI drones in government cases. We're entering a time of just absolute insanity when it comes to passing legislation regarding UAS.
Right.
And Iowa is probably the pinnacle of this. There was great hopes in Iowa. There was a pretty good bill that was being written that was going to make sure that we could tamp down on rogue drone operations and put in state preemption and allow drones that were operating legally to be flown without having a patchwork quilt of regulations. That got scrapped. And in place comes this bill. This bill went so far as to say you cannot fly over a property with a surveillance device. They will define surveillance device as a camera. So if you are going to fly over, you're flying in your backyard, right? And you just happen to cross your property line with the next door neighbor, that's illegal to this bill.
So
Get
the intent to
Doesn't
surveil
have to be
not
intent.
so it's
There's no
not the
intent.
issue.
No.
Wow.
So it's literally just saying you cannot fly over a property that you do not own, or that a homeowner has not given you permission to fly over.
So and I'm looking
Yeah.
at this literally word for word. If I can read it real quick.
Mm-hmm.
It it's a long run-on sentence, but a person who is the owner or leasee of a homestead or secure farmstead area may petition the district court to obtain an order for temporary injunction to prevent the respondent from using any remotely piloted aircraft equipment with a surveillance device, such as a camera. If the preponderance of evidence indicates that the respondent is harassing the petitioner by controlling the flight of the remotely piloted aircraft over the person's homestead or secure farmstead area. So if you don't own it, like he said, if you come within inches of his gate, he thinks you're looking into his yard, you can get into some trouble. What are you going to do about that? What do they do about that, Ryan?
So yeah, the one that you're reading, right, goes on to say that they can grant a temporary injunction for up to 2 years to basically say you cannot fly over this property for 2 years' time. And if you do, that's going to land you in jail. That's going to be a severe penalty. That's mind-boggling in and of itself. But there's even more egregious items in this bill that it has designated that a pig or a cow or a sheep have privacy.
Yep.
So if you have images of the next door neighbor's farm or some farm out in
and there's a horse in the picture,
right? There's a horse. You violated that horse's privacy.
Yes.
And
now check this out. It goes as far as to say, if you take a picture and that neighbor's horse is in your picture, they can request all video and pictures of that image to be
destroyed.
To given to them or destroyed.
Right.
So wow. Now we used to laugh at the Canadians because they couldn't fly past a bird.
Right.
Remember?
Remember?
Now look what's
Canadians
happening.
used to have the strictest drone laws in the world.
Yeah.
Now they don't.
Now look at this stupid.
I really believe that this is where they're trying to go anyway. Here, and I mean, in the entire country.
Yeah. So what really happened, right? And this was the catalyst event. Was we had the case in Texas. Texas, a drone pilot went up as a journalist. He saw this red lake and he filmed it, whatever. He comes back to find out, oh, that lake wasn't red. It was red because of blood that a pig farmer had slaughtered tons of pigs, and now the lake is red. And so they wrote that up. And when the pig farmer saw that, he went right to the legislature and said, hey, we need to stop these guys. And so Texas put in that law. The National Press Photographers Association sued Texas and said, hey, wait a minute, you cannot do this. This is against the First Amendment. And they won in district court, right? Federal district court, they won. So that pulled the law from the books. Texas appealed. It went to the appellate court, and the appellate court said, you don't have standing. You need a facial charge on this thing, and you don't have that. So they allowed the decision to be repealed. So now all these different states have seen that and said, oh, well, we can regulate it in the same fashion as what Texas did. Even though if this got appealed further where it had a facial case, it would win because sorry, you can't do that. But that's where we're at. So Texas law being put back on the books now has other states going, we can prevent viewing of our cattle, of our pigs, etc. And Iowa's one that stood this up.
Well, I want to ask you, isn't this less another airspace issue?
It is. Yeah, absolutely.
This is not a land use issue.
Right? Because they're talking about flying over. So they aren't looking at that land use jurisdiction at all.
So this is a bill that prevents neighbors from being able to sell their own property because they may need to have the drone over your property to be able to get the shot of their property.
That's absolutely one of the arguments that the commercial operators in Iowa were standing up and saying, "Hey, wait a minute. I have no interest in filming that particular farm. I'm viewing
Right.
this other farm across the street to get a
If,
picture of it, and yet you are going to hold me accountable for some type of trespass or what have you, even though I'm 400 feet in the air."
so how
Um,
do they may work that out with like transmission lines or something like that, or poles or something that may be near or on your property, and they may have inspections being done with that. How does that work out?
and yeah, they have no permission, no provisions for that other than they can say, if there's a public utility, they can provide exceptions for it. But
Mhm.
even then, it's not worded as such that that's actually an ability without an approval or permission from the homeowner, which is
Jim,
just odd.
someone in the chat goes, I want those farmers to stop the smell from leaving their property.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
you
Yeah.
know,
It's getting to that point, you know. And
Yeah.
and you wouldn't want to live next to Herman because he always tells me if he moves out in the middle of nowhere, he's going to level everything for a quarter mile and put concrete. So as soon as you step on the property, it'll turn the daylight out there. So could you imagine? I don't want Herman's light coming over into my property.
it
It's
won't.
going.
Trees will be around it.
It's getting that crazy.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere.
No, and really, I mean, I can tell you that the original bill on this was even more egregious, where it was basically saying a homestead has you could not fly over a homestead, and the homestead actually had an additional 400 feet on all sides of the property, which really meant, hey, if I live next door to you, I can't even fly in my own backyard if
Right.
I'm within 400 feet of the
You
property line. So they did away with that provision of it. But can you imagine that you even consider that as being
400
something that
feet.
you could put legally in?
That makes no sense. Someone said earlier in the chat that it seems like horses are making these rules. And you got to wonder, where are they getting this crap from?
what
Who's
happened?
giving them, who's advising them on this?
What?
All of this nonsense of we don't want you flying over the land. We don't want you
Mhm.
in the air, over land, over water, over someone's private property, or
Uh-huh.
or
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
or our animals, our pigs.
Well,
Mhm.
the bottom line of what I've been looking at, and is like, and I'm one of those people who put things together, like the whole nitpicking of things of the drone usage is to curtail the amount of drones that are up in the sky. Not in just
Yeah.
one specific area, but all over the country.
To me, I think what it's doing is you have states that are trying to say, hey, we want to have an ability to control low altitude. And it becomes the same argument that we're having nationally with abortion. Should this be a federal question or should it be a state's question? And I think we're seeing that with airspace. That, for so long we've had the FAA say this is our sole jurisdiction, and now you have some states saying, hey, we want to have that regulatory ability under a certain height. And there are
Right.
some bills out there that are looking at that as well, 150 feet, 250 feet.
And
That is something we have to fight.
excuse me, but the reason I believe that that's occurring is because just like many of the people in the drone community accuse the AMA of not being proactive, the FAA is not proactive on anything that has to do with aviation. They're more so I'll worry about it when I step in it kind of organization.
Yeah.
and it's becoming more of a problem year after year because unless they're just like you see, and like everybody says, well, we don't talk politics, but just like in politics, where you have a proactive stance and a pro and an how they call it, a passive aggressive stance, and all that happened is the inevitable. So, and that's just like basically both groups working towards the same thing. And that's basically like what you see happening with the FAA. If the FAA took proactive stance against certain things like this nonsense, then
Right.
you wouldn't have these problems. But they don't, so it seems as if they want. And maybe and if we know about it, then they know about it. You know, it's the same old talk that everybody talks about. Oh, in the quote unquote the words of the street. If the street know you did it, then the police know you did it.
Yep.
Hey, Ryan, the Flying Flint says go green.
Go white.
God Bless America says the government is getting more involved because there are those out there that have no common sense and screw it up for the rest of us. It's not that. It's not that. I want to say so bad, where is the FAA in all of this and why are they allowing this to happen? But the FAA is like in a corner just saying, don't look at me. You know, a dog does something wrong and he turns away from you and thinks you can't see him. That's what I feel like the FAA is doing. He's sitting in the corner like, don't look at me. If I can't see him, he definitely can't see me. I don't get it.
Like I said,
They go into remote ID to say, like Dan put, remote ID, ridiculous, illogical device. They wanted everyone to comply with remote ID so they could see what's in the air, so they could tell you can't fly.
What?
I mean, that's what it's come down to. Logically, if you think of it, does that make sense? We want you all to have remote ID and strobes and this, and just so we can tell you can't fly.
he said you tell them when they roll up on you, you tell them like when they tell you to bring the drone down,
Yeah.
what are you gonna tell them? I got a $250 strobe up there, and I got a $250 module on that drone. When the price run out, I'll bring it down.
Hey, Draymond. Draymond says the FAA never comes to the aid of anyone to secure airspace rights. This is true. I've never seen it in history.
That
That's
is
absolutely
exactly
true.
what I said, Draymond.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so now
That's exactly what I said.
I want to go into Ohio, but that's a completely different story, and it's still early because we're still on this Iowa thing. So go ahead, Herman, because I'm looking
I
for
just
something.
want to know, has it gone to the Senate yet? Because I know it was in the House.
Yeah, so the Iowa bill has passed both House and Senate. In fact, it
Okay.
passed in the Senate unanimously, which is scary.
Yeah.
It passed in the House with 10 no votes, 10 no votes and 3 absentees. But yeah, the Senate passed it unanimously. It is sent to the governor as of last week on Monday. The governor has a portion of time where they could sign it, or they could veto it, or they can just let it sit and it will automatically become law. There is, in my opinion, no way that this governor is going to veto that bill, especially because it passed unanimously in the Senate. If the governor were to veto it, they would have super majority veto power against the governor. So this is becoming law, accepted as fact.
Right.
You saying if the governor was to veto this bill, what would happen now?
So yeah, if the governor were to veto, then the congressional body, the legislature could go and say, "Hey, we are going to override that governor's veto." That takes a 2/3 majority to do. Well, if you're trying to override with a unanimous vote, you're going to be able to do it. So there's no way this does not become law. It's going to be law.
Well, well, I'm not surprised because in reading it,
Mhm.
there's a section that says intrusion by use of remotely piloted offense. And I pulled up a section here that I wanted to read this real quick. It says a person, and this is by law. You said it's going to be a law. A person who commits intrusion by the use of a remotely piloted aircraft is guilty of a simple misdemeanor. Notwithstanding, a person who commits intrusion by the use of a remotely piloted aircraft is guilty of a serious misdemeanor if the person has previously been convicted of any of the following. And then they go on to say intrusion by flying your remotely piloted aircraft in certain areas over people's homes, pigs, whatever, and or using your drone for surveillance by remotely piloting aircraft in so-and-so section. In other words, my question to you, Ryan, is law enforcement are using drones. Law enforcement uses their drones for surveillance. So now law enforcement can no longer use their drones because they would be violating the same law that was put into effect. And don't tell me, I see that frown, do not tell me they'll be able to fly.
Except they are given an exception.
Here we
Right,
go. Here we
but
go.
but you see, Lawrence, the police were also never allowed to, without warrant, to surveil your backyard, to surveil your home with the usage of a drone.
That's not true.
And it's only become now legal now where they've been making exceptions, because we've done many of reports on
No.
that.
So
And the ACLU was always all over that.
I'll correct you on that. That when we look at
Mhm.
being able to surveil a backyard,
Mhm.
we go back to a case in Florida, Florida v. Riley.
Mhm.
So Florida v. Riley, the individual was growing marijuana. It's always marijuana, right? In their backyard in
Right.
a greenhouse. Now the greenhouse had its roof a little tilted to, get some air, vent, whatever, right? The police flew over that with a helicopter, and they had somebody looking out of the helicopter window, and they had camera taking pictures, etc. They were able to see inside the greenhouse. They did
Mhm.
not have a warrant, right? So they went and they go ahead and they arrest the guy. The guy says, "Hey, wait a minute, you can't do that. You needed a warrant, and you were not in navigable airspace because you were at 400 feet, and
Mhm.
therefore this evidence is all invalid." So the
Okay.
court looked at it and they said a couple of things. One, they said it doesn't matter that there's not a warrant. You do not have to have a warrant to be surveilling and looking at a backyard. The other thing they said is 400 feet is not navigable airspace, or is navigable airspace. It's not outside of the purview. So that's set a precedent for drone operators, even, right? To say, hey, you can fly at 400 feet and it is navigable airspace. That's Florida v. Riley, and that's in the 1960s.
And they were surveilling his backyard.
They were
Well,
surveilling his backyard.
someone put in the chat. They look for high electric bills. Then they have infrared
Oh, yeah.
cameras with
Right,
helicopters
understand, because
looking
but they
for.
were surveilling his backyard.
Yeah.
Yep. So now it gets even better, right? So a few years later, we have U.S. versus Breza. Same kind of situation. They're growing marijuana. They have a high privacy fence. I think it was almost 20 feet tall, right? So you can't go up and over to look at it.
Mhm.
And this one, they have a helicopter again fly over, spot the marijuana plants, and they go arrest him. The helicopter at this point was down at 200 feet. And the
Mhm.
argument again was that's not navigable airspace. They were too low, blah, blah.
Wow.
Court
Right,
threw
Wow.
it out, said, no, absolutely. That's navigable airspace. They can go ahead and arrest you. We got one
right. I
more
get what you're
case, right?
saying.
Giancola got down to 100 feet. And
Wow.
so, as drone pilots, we use this information to be able to
To
say,
make arguments for other
to
cases.
make the
Right.
Yes.
arguments that, yeah,
I
100 feet,
totally
200
get
feet,
that.
that is still navigable airspace. It's still under FAA control.
Right, but every case that you mentioned, every one of those people were under suspicion. The point of what Lawrence is talking about is the police being able to do their work somewhere else, and
Yeah.
it's someone else being able to do their work on somebody else's property, which is the same thing we've been talking about, the same that they made the argument for with this case.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You eliminated that ability to do that by saying that I'm surveilling this guy's property when I am not.
Well, okay. And I'll give you one more case, and this is one that's already been through the Michigan Supreme Court once. It's now on its second time through, and it's I expect the decision here any day now. And that's Long Lake Township versus Maxon here in Michigan. The drone pilot flew over. This is a drone pilot hired by the county
Right.
to fly over and do some surveillance of a next door property to the county township offices, right? Or yes, the township offices. He flies over it and he spots what is basically a junkyard in violation of the junkyard ordinances that the township has.
Mm-hmm.
The flight took place at 250 to 300 feet, right? So we're well within national airspace, no big deal. The person that was arrested for this or cited for it, he wasn't arrested because it was not a criminal act, it was a civil liability, had said, hey, you can't do this, you do not have a warrant to have that aerial surveillance of my property.
Right.
That has been tossed out of a district court or circuit court, a court of appeals, and the Michigan Supreme Court, all three. It's gone back to all three courts again, and now we're waiting on the Michigan Supreme Court once more on the same type of argument. And Maxon is going to lose again because you do not need a warrant, especially if it's a civil offense, civil citation versus a criminal citation. So yeah, that you can have a drone fly over and not be criminally responsible.
All I'm saying is that, like you mentioned, the cases that you mentioned, everyone was under suspicion. And Lawrence has mentioned something that this bill eliminates the ability to not only survey them, people who are under suspicion, but now you're saying that anyone else in the area, now I'm violating their rights to, and their pigs, sheeps, even the ants on the roof of their house.
Here's a question for you, and I kind of know the answer, but I'll leave it for you guys. Could the cop stand on your front porch and peer through your curtain without a warrant?
Well, yeah, I mean, whatever you can see through the curtain, like when Dream mentioned about plain view, I mean, I as if I was a lawyer, I would kind of argue plain view with the usage of a drone because that's an aid that is used.
That's true, because often, how many times, Herman or Ryan, have you shot a photo of a subject and looked at the photo and said, hey, I didn't see that in the picture?
Oh, yeah, all the time.
Right.
All the time. But what I'm saying too, that's like how when we were talking about Long Island City, and I was able to tell you that the guy up there on, I don't remember what floor it was, but he's got a huge television in there.
Yeah,
I think the challenge that you have, right, is
but he has no curtains.
Yeah, so if you have no curtains, you can peer in, right? So you are seeing in plain view. But if somebody has put up curtains, right, they are trying to protect their privacy. Now you're talking about somebody who's engaging in invasion of their curtilage, right? That you're talking inside the house, that's their curtilage. Now, if they were outside on the porch, right, and I'm peering up over the 4-foot fence, not very hard to kind of tiptoe and I see over, maybe it's even 6-foot fence. I tiptoe and I can see over it. You're still gonna be okay.
Yeah,
it's a sad world we live in.
It's not like they set up. Now, if they set up like a film production to like get cameras slid through like small cracks and stuff like that in your house to see in there, that's a different story.
Excuse me 1 second here, but we need to get in this sponsor thing for and get it out the way. It's on the half hour, so
It's that
it'll be
time
the
of
last
year.
one. Let's get it out the way.
Kind of early. No, well, Nano, right? For 10% on all your Nano items that you can use that coupon code Phantom Flight 10 for 10% off on all your Nano items, hard cases, and even backpacks right now, or knapsacks, whatever you want to call it. They have them for drones and all your other precious needs, from watches to firearms to your gimbals setup. So check them out. Nano, 10% off. Use that coupon code Phantom Flight 10. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir.
But yeah, this not only sounds like madness, but how is Ohio following suit? Because
This is the one I couldn't wait to get to.
You're kind of scratching your head at this one too, huh?
yeah,
no, I read some things in this that I'm like,
yeah, I
wow.
told you, Lawrence, stop the world. I want to get off.
Yeah.
So I think the first piece with Ohio, this one again has passed both House and Senate. This is headed to the governor. I don't think there's any way that the governor is going to veto this. So I anticipate this will be Ohio state law very shortly. The first things that jump out to me, one, they're saying you can't fly over a critical infrastructure, near critical infrastructure facility.
Right.
Now, if you've been in the drone industry a while, you know that critical infrastructure is a phrase that gets thrown out constantly, and it's misunderstood by most every officer there is, every elected official there is. Here we have a state that's trying to define it. Now, the FAA has defined it. They've worked with the Department of Defense. They've worked with the FBI. They've worked with the three-letter agencies to establish what actually is critical infrastructure. It's not railroads, right? It's not even most power stations. They've limited it to major defense bases, military bases, federal prisons, major dams, the Hoover Dam, for example, right? And all those places are spelled out on the ArcGIS, the FAA ArcGIS, which is where your sectional charts come from, right?
Right.
So that's your source. Now here we have the state that's saying, all right, we are going to make our own definition of critical infrastructure. And they are going into things like a commercial distribution center. So an Amazon warehouse or Dollar Tree warehouse suddenly becomes critical infrastructure. A court building, a police station, a municipal jail, right? So now we're getting really small and kind of indiscreet areas.
Right.
How about a hospital that receives air ambulance services? So they don't want you flying around.
I did see that.
Yeah.
I did see that.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is because they make it very clear. Go ahead, Herman.
They're nitpicking it everywhere to the point of where everybody's on the bandwagon to try to eliminate the amount of things that are in the sky everywhere. And this is the hottest thing in the last 5, 6 years, 7 years now.
For commercial use.
And even now for commercial use. So now you can find a way to pick the pockets of the commercial use as you prohibit the hobbyists.
And so I'm looking through some of this stuff. It says, okay, there's one section here that says park district, but going down, it says no person shall operate an unmanned aerial vehicle in a manner that disrupts, interrupts, or impairs the operations or activities conducted by law enforcement personnel, fire department personnel, or emergency medical services personnel. Well, don't you think we know this already? Well, I
hang on to that one. Go even further.
So okay, yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. I still have more.
Very, very broad, right? So not is it only saying, hey, you can't disrupt or interrupt their operations. it's saying while such personnel is on duty. So
Yes,
if the fire department is out cleaning their hoses,
they're on duty.
nice beautiful summer day, they've
Yep.
got the trucks out and they're cleaning the hoses. If you fly a drone near there, they can say, "Oh, you've disrupted us. You've interrupted us. You are impairing us because now we're looking up and oh, what's that? You've just committed a crime by flying and getting some footage of them, cleaning their hoses."
Okay.
That's how broad this is.
Yeah. Yeah,
The
police
same thing with
officer could be
a police officer. Yeah.
police officer could be having lunch in his police car, and you cannot fly over him.
Yep.
You cannot fly over him.
Yeah. The
Where does
moment
it?
he stares out the
Where
window,
does
it
it?
goes, "Oh yeah, you've
Arkansas has
interrupted me."
the same language in their drone laws. Dre just said. Hold on.
Which one?
Arkansas, he says, has the same language in their drone laws.
Yeah.
I believe that they're just all passing all of this around and just saying sign
Right.
it.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, so here it is. NYC guy says, I can shoplift no problem, but I can't fly a drone if I wanted to. Seriously, come on. Keep some of these on keep. All these things are not to be taken seriously, in my opinion.
Well,
I get what you're saying, but it's slowly traveling from state to state like
it-
COVID
Yeah.
did.
it only matters when there becomes a time when they're able to enforce it. And that is only a matter of time before they're able to start enforcing it.
They will try. Yeah.
Especially if you're in a small place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Now trying to enforce something like that in New York is real, or California, one of these states that have millions per city. I'd like to see how they're going to handle this. Where are they going to get the manpower and funding for? They'll get the funding. They get the funding for $1,000 screwdriver. They'll get the funding.
Well,
But
they're gonna get the funding because they're
yeah.
gonna impose tariffs on the Chinese
Oh,
made.
Ronnie says, what about videoing the utility company from a safe distance, installing new 100-foot power poles? Nope.
That's what
Infrastructure,
we were
you
talking
can't do it.
about.
Nope, 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 nope. Even from a safe distance zoomed in, you're still considered, you still get arrested and charged with a misdemeanor.
Well, that goes back to what we were talking about with the last bill from Iowa and having to shoot those things maybe close to or over someone's property,
Mm-hmm.
near
Mhm.
someone's property. I'm sorry, but your roses were exposed to my camera while I was getting the pole, but I didn't mean to invade their privacy.
Well, it's getting it's
I
getting.
wasn't trying to shoot your chicken. She walked into the shot. She
Right.
photobombed
Yeah.
me.
Right.
Well, and that's the other piece with this Ohio bill, right? So critical infrastructure, right? A county courthouse, or even better, is a municipal jail, right?
Mhm.
You cannot fly near a municipal jail. And what it's saying is, and I want to read it, right? No person shall operate an unmanned aerial vehicle or unmanned aerial vehicle system to photograph, record, or loiter over or near a critical facility. This
Yep.
did not talk about photographing the critical facility. It talked about photographing anywhere near it. So
Right.
I could be photographing the business across the street from the jail, and I would be in violation of this because I'm flying near the jail.
Well, see, this is where this would apply
Wow.
with Herman and I, because we have a site that across the street is a prison.
Yep.
Now we already
Detention center.
okay, detention center. Ooh. But the point I'm making is we know we can't fly because it's a no-fly zone, but we're not even looking at the prison. So somebody could see that shot. I know where that shot is on that corner. That's across the street from a prison. I can call and make a complaint on this dude. I can report him. for
Don't
flying
give
near a prison,
anybody
even
ideas.
though it's for hire, even though it's commercial, and we're facing away from the prison, which we always do. We rarely
Don't,
get to, right.
don't give anybody any ideas.
This is crazy. The government must be
No, but
getting.
I'm saying that, and if we had the same law like Iowa in these places, then we wouldn't be able to do it.
Yeah. And I'll point out, in that last instance where we're talking about, hey, you're flying, photographing the business across the street from the jail. That, if you were caught in violation of that one, that's a felony. That's a fourth-degree felony
Yeah.
at the state of Ohio. So you're not
Yeah.
even talking a misdemeanor. This is serious stuff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So
Yeah.
that business could never have any pictures of itself
No
because
aerials.
of that prison or
Go
that.
figure.
That's crazy.
This is your Jim Joni says can't do drone deliveries no more because they have cameras. Well, I don't think so because they're going to say do as we say, not as we do. And when you start seeing these larger
Sure
cargo
you can.
drones, I'm not talking about the ones that deliver apple and Tylenol to the old lady. I'm talking these larger cargo drones that'll be landing and taking off at airports carrying stuff. This is what they're clearing the airways for. That little drone, that little wing drone that flies from Wally World to grandma's house a quarter mile away, they don't give a shit about that.
Sure they
They
do.
want the cargo.
Sure they do. That's part of what
Yeah.
they're clearing the airspace for
That's
too.
true. Yeah. I guess we've
But
done a story.
and that, I think, is
No, this is
the
not a
last
law
point.
in effect. No, this is not in effect in all states, Ronnie. This
No,
is
this is
in
No, Ohio.
first one
Ohio,
was in
and
Iowa
Iowa
was the
so far.
first one,
Yeah.
and the second one was Ohio.
Yeah.
And I want to
So
call attention to the last one in Ohio, that this one, I
That's
think,
House
sums up the stupidity,
Bill.
right?
Mhm.
So the last piece in Ohio is saying any local government can create or enforce, and adopt their own ordinances regarding regulations of flying in a park or park district. So, and it expressly is saying the use of UAS for hobby or recreational purposes, right, is going to be prohibited.
they
So,
specify.
right. So you're literally saying if you plan to fly for recreation, you cannot fly in a park.
Yeah.
How does that make sense? Parks
Right.
are
And
The
for
park is for.
recreation, right?
right. When you can't fly
And,
over people and
and what
property and cars and
Right.
and what makes that so
Go
funny is
downtown and fly, but don't fly in a park.
that here in New York, right? They use some privacy law to move
yes.
you out of the park.
Yep.
Like you have privacy in the park to make you go and fly at one of the parks that have an airfield.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That
And
don't care if you fly out of the airfield.
now here's what I was hoping you would have went down to, Ryan. Go ahead, Herman.
No, go ahead. I'm yeah.
What I was hoping you would have went down to, it says section 4561.53 A says the Department of Transportation's Office of Aviation shall provide information and resources on the official website regarding the laws, regulations, and proper use of an unmanned aerial vehicle and unmanned aerial vehicle systems. The information shall pertain to public, commercial, and recreational use of an unmanned aerial vehicle. Now, they're not saying you cannot get hired or do commercial jobs, but the restrictions are so tight, you may not want to go through all of that bull.
Yeah. I mean, that section is just saying they're going to update their website with these rules. But yeah, I mean, if you're a Part 107 operator in Ohio, you're going to now have to look up every single town that you fly in, every single township, city, county. You need to find out what their rules are in order to operate. If I'm doing that, I'm charging extra to the client because that's time wasted, right?
But here, Yeah, but here in New York, we have a park called Flushing Meadows Corona Park. It's between two airports, and you're allowed to fly drones there. And this Flushing Meadows Corona Park is less, the airfield is maybe a mile from the airport, from LaGuardia Airport, but
Okay.
they allow you to fly drones there. So I just sometimes I don't know what the hell they're doing. I guess I'm gonna just shut up and be happy we're in New York for now.
Well, like I
What
said to
else
you
can you
before,
do? If
Go
you
on
live in a
vacation.
state where you can still fly, fly.
every one of these rules and all of these laws that everyone is trying to produce is to curtail the drone use. Now, the thing that was funny when we go back to the talking about the Iowa and not so much Iowa, but Ohio as well, because airspace. There was a bill that was proposed, talking about veto, and it was a bill that was proposed to the governor here to be for them to be able to sue helicopter companies
Yes.
for noise pollution. And they're talking about being able to not only sue the company, the pilot, the people in job and involved with the flight and everything, even though it was conducted under the proper aviation laws done included by the FAA. This is what's stated in this whole thing. The bill was put forth to the governor here in New York, and she vetoed the bill. Why she vetoed the bill? Because she said that we have no jurisdiction to legislate in this area, meaning that this is an airspace issue. We have no jurisdiction to legislate that. And I just find it interesting that they found a way of involving someone who didn't or may not have asked them for that help and is going to come back to bite them in the ass to say that I need help for you to protect what's going on my property. So anybody that's over my house or looking they're violating me. Even it's like I don't know. They found a backdoor way into of making laws on airspace.
Well, it's funny because Ronnie says, well, I'll just what did he say? I'll strap a GI Joe to my Mini so it's a manned aircraft, meaning I can fly it, right? But now your Mini comes into the parameters of remote ID because it's heavier than 250, and now you have to register it, and now it makes you a target.
Can you imagine that now?
You strap an action figure to your doll
The
or a
Joe
sticker of one.
and
Yeah.
oh, that's funny.
That's creative, Ronnie. That's creative.
You know
He
what'll
says he'll use a
happen?
lightweight decal.
You
Nope,
know what'll
doesn't
happen
qualify.
after that, right?
Has to be a physical body, Ronnie.
You know what'll happen after that, right?
What?
All of the geniuses out there in Mamba Jahambo world will get together and call these people lawyers. What is classified as a man?
Right.
Because that's a doll. That's
Yeah.
a figurine of some sort.
I can see that.
What do
It
we
doesn't have a
classify as a
heartbeat.
man? And then it doesn't have a heartbeat. And that'll be the next issue. So that's a good try. But I don't know. I think this is going to happen more and more and more and more all across the country until guys are flying minis around in circles in the park and glancing over, and then that'll be the next thing. Does this airfield, from this airfield, can I see into Miss Johnson's yard? Oh God, no, there's another privacy issue going on there.
And so you're
There you
saying
go.
we're going to turn from a society of camera drone pilots to a society of mini flyers.
Yes, and a society of people who probably won't even fly them anymore. Eventually.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to scare anyone, but I mean, I'll just tell you to keep flying your drones until then. Like I know that there'll become a change with a lot of things, but I may not be around to see them.
True, but I can say this, Ryan and Herman, and I want to say this to all of you guys out there watching the live stream and listening. Stop shaking in your pants. Unless you live in Ohio or Iowa, just fly your damn drone legally.
Even if you live in those two states.
Yeah, right. Until it's on
Fly-
paper. At least
Yeah.
until it's in the law books, you're good. Once it's
Yeah,
on
a few
paper.
days.
And you know what's
Hey,
funny,
Bob, what's going
Ryan?
on?
You know what's funny, Ryan? Here in New York, hey, Bob Casey, here in New York, they want us to pay $150 or else the cop is supposed to see you flying a drone and ask you, do you have the right credentials and everything? And 9 out of 10 cops see you flying a drone and they either stop and, hey, I've got one of those, or
He's
or
trying
they
to
just
get to
keep
lunch
going. They keep going, right. They're trying to get lunch or donuts or whatever.
or
They could
trying
care
not
less.
to find
Now,
any extra police work to
now,
do.
New York State has made this rule. It's law, right, Ryan? But they haven't updated the police officers' law books yet, which are they have access to their phone. So I'm wondering when that'll happen because they actually updated an aggravation law from back in God knows when, back in 2004, something like that. And that update is still not even in the police manual. So by the time they get all this shit together, you probably be old and gray. At least that's what I'm hoping.
There you go.
You're saying
Don't
that'll
worry
be
about it.
somebody else's
Fly your
problem?
drone legally and keep it like that.
You say it'll be somebody else's problem to deal with?
Yeah, it'll be someone else's problem. You probably won't care by then. I don't know. I'm just saying because a lot of people are fear mongering.
You
Oh,
know,
they want us to stop flying drones and
you know
it's
that's
coming.
how you know that's how problems start, right?
Yeah.
Leave
Yeah.
it, the next guy deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, pass the buck.
Well, that's what you just
Kick
described.
the can down the road.
Pass the buck. I mean,
No, but that's what you just literally
I
described.
know, I know,
Okay, I'm
I
just
know,
saying.
I know.
The whole world
There's
functions like that. I
one
get
way to
it.
deal with it.
That's
Sit
one.
there and go, I'm gonna quit the hobby. Oh my,
No,
or keep flying until
until
it affects you. It's
right,
like politics. They
like the
say
FAA.
it's like politics. Yeah, I'll never raise the taxes. I'll never do this. And you want to know what? By the time it affects you, you've forgotten about it and you're already paying it.
You're gonna pay it anyway because you're
Yeah,
gonna
that's my point.
but that's total. Okay, all right. Ryan, you know what I wanted to ask you about because I've seen the footage. I just want to know what's going on with the TFRs and guys flying and
Mhm.
TFRs and what's going on?
So
Because
yeah, I wanted to talk TFRs, especially tonight. Uh,
Can I show
many
a
of
quick
you
video?
probably.
Can I show a quick video? It's only 16 seconds.
Oh
And it
yeah,
has to do with flying during a TFR, Detroit, Michigan.
well
I
the NFL
the
draft
draft.
they
Okay,
NFL
this is a
draft in
outdoor
Detroit.
video.
event in
This
in
is
in Michigan.
this is an illegal video. It was
No, this is a legal
oh,
video.
this one was legal. Okay.
Yeah.
You're
Wow.
gonna see it and go, "How the hell is that legal?" But this was a legal flight.
At the humanity that has amassed right here in the home of
Look
the
at this.
Detroit Lions, the most
Tens of
Honolulu
thousands.
you will see in one spot.
275,000 people showed up for the draft.
My
That's it?
goodness, are the fans?
That's all is there.
Yeah.
275,000.
Yeah.
Wow,
Now you can get into
that's a
TFR.
lot of people.
That's a lot of folks. So
I
what happened is, and this is kind of the trend that's happening now, is that the FAA has decided that they will put out TFRs specifically and only for drones in certain events. The NFL draft was one of those events where they're
Mhm.
going to prohibit drones from flying. Aircraft,
Right.
other aircraft, no problem, right? Um, we ended up getting the alert that this was going to be the case, and we were able to spread the word to drone pilots in Michigan. Hey, stay away from downtown Detroit. There's
Right.
going to be a TFR. You don't want to get caught. You know, keep your drone on the ground.
Mhm.
Part of this, the TFR that got put into place was additionally the FAA had decided that they were going to seek to truly enforce that FAA, or that TFR. So there were all kinds of assets put in place to monitor the airspace. We're talking
Right.
counter UAS operations, right? So there were aeroscope. There was some special um, aerial type armor, and aerial armor is actually one of those sources that was used to track all drones, not just Autel or DJI, but any drone. So if it lifted off, it was on their radar, and you were going to be engaged by either a Detroit Police Department, the FBI, the FAA, who was there as well, and they had some Secret Service as well. So you could have been engaged very quickly by any one of the three-letter agencies and been in very deep trouble. TFR, you're talking potential jail time. You're talking five-figure fines, and you're going to spend some money with a lawyer as well as go to court and have some court time. But it's a disturbing trend that we're starting to see where the FAA has said, we aren't going to lock the airspace down to anybody. We're going to lock it down just for drone operators. And we're seeing more of that. I think that's going to be a trend that continues. And then what's worse is they're going to be enforcing that with that counter UAS. So you've got to start really preparing yourself for that, meaning that whenever you're going to fly, don't just stop and look at that Lance authorization, right?
Yeah.
Take that time and go, okay, I'm also going to go search the TFR list and see
Go
what's
to
in
Sky
place.
Vector. That's as accurate as you can get.
Hey, well,
Yep.
you know what? I think that
In real time.
the software now, I mean, even the DJI software has been pretty good at showing you the TFRs.
Sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. Most times.
Most
But
times.
as far as now, I don't know if you you probably are familiar with it. Last week we had a gentleman on Randall Warners. He has the Raptor now with
Anzu.
Anzu Robotics. And it's in your colors, your Michigan state
It is green, yeah.
But that's working
yeah.
with that's gonna be what it was that Aloft is doing the software.
Yes.
So I'm really curious to see how that works because we all use Aloft for
For
most
Lance
of us,
authorization.
for Lance authorization. So I'm really interested in that drone. But the TFR, I mean, yeah, now we've been talking about counter UAS for a long time. So now all of these places not only going to be detecting, I mean, I haven't heard of anything being implemented on being able to mitigate, being able to knock stuff out of the sky and stuff like that is what everybody worried about so far.
I can tell you, like here in Michigan, and I suspect this is going to be for most Big Ten universities. So here in Michigan, we've got two Big Ten universities, Michigan State, my alma mater, and the University of Michigan. What I can tell you is that both universities have invested in and installed drone detection equipment. And the University of Michigan has gone all out. They actually have camera systems, tracking systems that will spot a drone and they will follow the drone with a camera so that they can record the event. And then when you're landing,
so they have physical evidence.
They have
physical evidence now.
Now, Michigan has had some challenges in that, they've had a couple of pilots fly during the University of Michigan games. And so with that, they've had to engage folks and arrest them and go through that process. We've only seen that at a handful of other universities. Kansas State, Ohio State had one. but it's been very uncommon. With that said, you know, these universities, they're really taking this seriously, and the interest is that as a community, we need to let folks know, hey, you can't fly during an NFL game, or NFL regular season game, or
Right, right.
postseason game.
You have to be specific.
Yes, but you know, make sure everybody's aware of those stadium TFRs, because they don't necessarily show up on the Lance apps, that they are
This
permanent
is why I
TFRs.
said you should check Sky Vector
Sky
for
Vector.
real time, because the president was in town last week, and he had his TFR up, but for a 6-hour time frame, the TFR went up around Shea Stadium.
Yeah.
You know, but Sky Vector is a lot more accurate. A lot of people don't know. If you just
Sky
type it
Vector
in,
would have seen it.
huh?
Sky Vector would see both of them.
Yes, they do.
Now, the one for the president would be on Aloft.
Yes, the one for president would be on the loft now. That's why, with like Herman, I'm interested in seeing the Anzu drone and their application through a loft, because I'm very happy with a loft. A loft broke a million users easily, you know, with Lance authorization. But guys, it's that time already.
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, see when you're having fun.
Well, I guess. I mean,
Will you promise to let us know what's going on in the rest of the world? You
We'll
know,
keep you up to speed.
you always send Herman or I stuff, and we're like, oh damn, what's happening now? But we appreciate you for that, because we've been asking you. You've been coming on here for a couple of years now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you've been keeping
always
us in
welcome.
touch with what's going on, of course. And if you have something you want to let people know about, you can always hit us up, you know.
Absolutely.
We appreciate you, Ryan. Anything you guys want to say?
You got the open invitation here, Ryan. You're always welcome here.
Yes.
Many thanks. I will take you up on that someday.
Yes. Just say breaking news, and we're ready.
We're right here.
All right,
Indeed.
with that,
Anything, Lawrence?
no, be safe, fly safer.
Okay, and with that, and we'll see you next time with those guys. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you all.
With us.
Thank you. We appreciate you all.